that is not within his jurisdiction, but to convince you to disqualify yourself, to get you to turn the weapon heaven issued you into evidence of your own inadequacy. He is not afraid of your pain. He is afraid of your clarity. He is afraid of your clarity. He is afraid of what happens when you stop apologizing for the depth of your perception and start walking in it as the rank marker it actually is. You have been sitting in that tension. The tension between knowing something in you is significant and being unable to reconcile that knowing with the evidence the world has presented. You have almost dismissed it. This week, in fact, there was a moment, you know, the one where you came very close to agreeing with the diminishing voice, where you almost picked up the narrative that the people around you carry about who you are and bore it like a verdict. That was the enemy's closest approach. And the fact that you are here, that the whisper found you in this exact moment rather than after that agreement was made, is not coincidence. It is intervention. Heaven moved, but there is something else heaven whispered. Something about what your authentic presence has been attracting, that the enemy has been reframing as attack, when it is actually evidence. He has been whispering a very specific lie to you about the resistance you face. He has been calling it rejection. He has been calling it failure. He has been calling it proof that you are not built for the rooms you are trying to enter, the relationships you are reaching toward, the assignments you sense are yours. He has been replaying every door that closed, every connection that thinned, every moment where the welcome you expected did not materialize, and narrating them as a pattern. You are not the one they want. You do not fit. You are wrong about your assignment. The resistance you are experiencing is the world correctly perceiving that you do not belong at the level you believe you are called to. He has been doing this deliberately, because here is what he knows that he does not want you to know. The intensity of the resistance a soul faces is directly correlated to the significance of the assignment that soul carries. He does not deploy his most sophisticated strategies against souls operating at low levels of spiritual influence. He does not waste precision on targets that pose no threat to his agenda. The level of opposition you have been experiencing, the specific quality of it, the way it has felt personal, targeted, relentless, like something is working against you with intelligence and intention, that is not evidence of your failure. That is evidence of your rank. I need you to feel the weight of what I just said. The opposition is not random. It is not bad luck. It is not a sign that you misjudged your calling. It is targeted. And what it is targeting is the assignment that would be activated the moment you stop letting it convince you to stand down. You have been in a season where the resistance arrived from the direction you least expected. Not from strangers, not from overt enemies, but from the people and situations closest to the life you are building. That is not coincidence, that is tactical. High-ranking assignments are opposed at close range, precisely because the enemy understands that the opposition feels most credible when it comes from inside the rooms you trust. He placed the most convincing objectors nearest to you. He is not trying to block a door you are already walking through. He is trying to make you doubt whether the door was ever meant for you before you arrive at it. But I need you to hear what the scripture actually says. Romans 8:31 says, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" Listen to that word "for." Not beside, not watching, not available. For. Active, positioned, mobilized on your behalf. And then Romans 8:37 continues, "No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us." Not despite the resistance, not after the resistance is removed. In all these things, while the things are happening, while the doors are slow, while the welcome is withheld, while the resistance is active. In the middle of that, heaven's verdict over you is not victim. It is not defeated. It is not diminished. The verdict is more than conqueror, and that verdict was spoken over the authentic version of you, not a cleaned-up performance, not a version that has figured out how to make everyone comfortable, but the full, unedited, high-frequency, deeply feeling, impossible to fully categorize version of you that the enemy has been trying to convince you to retire. The resistance you have been experiencing is not a correction from God. It is a confirmation. Elijah understood this in the most visceral way possible. After the greatest public victory of his prophetic career, after fire fell from heaven on Carmel, after the false prophets were silenced, after the rain broke a 3-year drought at his word, Elijah ran. He ran from a threat. He sat under a broom tree in the wilderness and asked God to take his life. The one who had just called down heaven's fire was sitting in the desert, depleted, convinced he was finished. The one who had just operated at the highest visible demonstration of prophetic power in a generation was hiding in a cave at Horeb, and when God asked him what he was doing there, his answer was a grief-soaked accusation. I am the only one left, and they are trying to take my life. Listen to what God did not do. God did not correct Elijah's theology in that cave. God did not give him a lecture on sovereignty. God did not remind him of what he had just accomplished on Carmel. What did God do? First he fed him. An angel touched him and said, "Arise and eat, for the journey is too great for you." God acknowledged the weight. God acknowledged that the journey, not Elijah's weakness, but the journey itself, was great. And then, after rest and food and rest again, after the still small voice in the quiet, God gave Elijah an assignment, a new one, not a retirement, not a consolation, an assignment. Anoint Hazael to be king over Syria. Anoint Jehu son of Nimshi to be king over Israel. Anoint Jehu son of Nimshi to be king over Israel. Anoint Elisha son of Shaphat as prophet in your place. Heaven was not finished with Elijah. Heaven was recalibrating Elijah after the cost of carrying a high-ranking assignment at the level he had been carrying it. And I want you to notice one more thing about what heaven said to Elijah in that cave. God told him, there are 7,000 in Israel who have not bowed to Baal. 7,000. In Elijah's deepest isolation, in the moment when the enemy's lie that he was alone felt most credible, heaven's response was not argument. It was revelation. You are not alone. You have never been alone. The isolation you have been experiencing this week, that particular quality of aloneness that is not about being physically by yourself, but about feeling like no one in your immediate world can fully hold the weight of what you carry, that is the enemy's counterfeit of the still small voice. The real voice sounds different. It sounds like what heaven is speaking to you right now. You are not the only one, but you are one of the ones. And that distinction matters. You have been in Horeb, not in failure. In the aftermath of the cost of carrying something significant at the level you have been carrying it, the depletion you have felt, that specific exhaustion that is not physical, tiredness, but something deeper, something that makes you want to simply stop being available to the weight, that is not spiritual weakness. That is the natural aftermath of operating at your level without adequate acknowledgement that the journey is, in fact, great. Heaven is acknowledging it now, not feeding you platitudes, not minimizing the cost, acknowledging that the weight you have been carrying is proportional to the rank God assigned, and that the recalibration happening in this season is not a sign that you are losing ground. It is a sign that heaven is preparing you for the next anointing. You have been going through your days this week with a particular kind of guardedness that you have not been able to fully name. A protective distance you have established between yourself and the possibility of another disappointment. You have been measuring your investment in things, in relationships, in hopes, in the assignments you sense are coming. Because the cost of full investment followed by closed doors has become a pattern your nervous system has learned to anticipate. You have been breathing more shallowly in spaces that used to feel alive. You have been giving 60% where you used to give everything. Not out of laziness, but out of a quiet, unnamed grief that has made full presence feel like too expensive a risk. Heaven sees that. Heaven is not judging it. Heaven is naming it, so you can release it. But there is something happening in the spirit that your guardedness cannot account for. Heaven is not delayed. The doors that closed were not the doors, and the recalibration you are in right now is not evidence of stagnation. It is the quiet work of heaven repositioning a high-ranking soul for an assignment that requires the full version of you, not the protected, pre-disappointed, slightly smaller version you have been offering as a precaution. The Divine Whisperer carries this message specifically for the ones who have confused the cost of their rank with evidence that the rank was wrong. And heaven would not have orchestrated this moment if the next chapter did not require you walking into it, knowing exactly who you are. There is something else, heaven whispered. Something about what this rank actually means for what you are about to step into, and why the enemy has been so specifically invested in making you doubt your own divine hierarchical standing before you get there. He's been whispering a very specific lie to you about your future. Not the distant abstract future, the immediate one. The one that begins when this recording ends and you walk back into your daily life carrying either the truth of your rank or the doubt he has been cultivating. He has been whispering that the open door coming toward you will not open for the real you. He has been constructing the argument that the version of you that heaven is asking you to show up as unedited, undiminished, operating at full authentic frequency, is not the version that the assignment requires. He has been suggesting that you need to be more strategic, more measured, more palatable, more willing to perform the expectations of the environment, rather than to walk in the truth of your rank. He has been calling that strategy wisdom. He has been framing authenticity as a luxury you cannot yet afford. This is his most dangerous lie about you, because it comes dressed in the language of practicality. It sounds reasonable. It sounds like maturity. It sounds like the kind of counsel a wise mentor might offer. But underneath the reasonable packaging, it carries the same poison it always does. The suggestion that who God made you is an obstacle to what God promised you. And that is not wisdom. That is the most sophisticated version of the original lie. The one that whispers that you must become something other than what heaven made you in order to receive what heaven prepared for you. But I need you to hear what the scripture actually says. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." Listen to that word, I know. Not I am developing, not I am waiting to see how you perform. I know. Present tense, active, already established. The plans are already formed around the authentic architecture of who you are. God did not design your future for a version of you that does not exist. He did not write your assignment for the smaller, safer, pre-shrunk adaptation. He wrote it for the full frequency, high-ranking, impossible to categorize original. And here is what that means for the door that is moving towards you right now. You do not have to become something else to walk through it. You have to become more fully what you already are. Think of Esther. She's in a position that requires science of identity.
Babe. Look, give me your plates. I'm gonna wash dishes tonight. $55. Whenever you get done, bring all them plates in, because I'm going to wash dishes tonight, probably.
The truth of who she was, and what she was assigned to carry. And heaven moved. The favor that opened was not available to a diminished version of Esther. It was reserved for the one willing to show up fully, even at cost, even at risk, even in the season where showing up fully felt like the most dangerous possible choice. Notice what Esther did before she went. She fasted. She gathered the ones assigned to stand with her. She did not rush into the king's presence performing confidence she did not feel. She arrived in the truth of her position, trembling, perhaps, but undiminished, not performing fearlessness, carrying her rank, and the king extended the scepter. Favor did not wait for her to feel ready. Favor responded to the full identity arrival. That is the pattern heaven is pressing into your hands tonight, not the instruction to perform strength you have not yet assembled. The invitation to arrive fully, with everything you actually carry, including the weight, including the cost, and let heaven respond to the frequency of the real you, Today, today in this specific moment, at this specific point in your life. Heaven is issuing you the same confrontation Mordecai issued Esther, not to terrify you, to activate you. You have arrived at a moment where the question is not whether you are ready. You arrived at a moment where the question is whether you will show up as who heaven marked you to be.
Baby. I even found a place called Far, Far Away. I found a town called Far, Far Away. I told them peace be with them. As like a fire department, and I found a town called Nowhere and Alone. All these towns, and I left from and told them they're all not alone. Actually, Far, Far Away.
The real one. The one that resists shrinking, even when shrinking, would be easier. The one that carries the weight of deep perception without apology. The one whose presence shifts the atmosphere in ways that not everyone will be comfortable with, and not everyone will understand. But the ones who are assigned to walk with you into the next chapter will recognize immediately, because they have been waiting for the frequency that only the authentic version of you can carry. In the secret place, heaven has already moved on your behalf this week in ways you have not yet seen. The divine whisperer is not speaking comfort as sedative here. This is a decree, what God arranged in the quiet while you are managing the weight of who you are in public. The connections positioned, the doors aligned, the assignments placed in the path of the full version of you. Those things are already in motion. Archangel Michael, assigned specifically to Soulsy, your rank, has been clearing the path not for the diminished version of you, but for the one who walks in the truth of their divine hierarchical standing. But the assignment requires that you arrive, not halfway, not pre-negotiated, fully arrived in the full weight of who you are, carrying every marker of rank that heaven catalogued before you were born, your intensity, your sensitivity, your refusal to perform, your depth of perception, your inability to be satisfied with surfaces, your resistance to diminishment, all of it, not as burdens to manage, as rank markers to carry with authority. You've been preparing for this without knowing you were preparing. The resistance you have navigated this week, the cost you have paid to remain authentic in environments that rewarded performance, the quiet faithfulness in the hidden season, none of it was wasted. Heaven does not waste the formation of high-ranking souls. Every compression point you passed through, every moment you held your authentic frequency when it would have been easier to lower it, was registered. In the secret place, God himself read every one of those moments as confirmation of the rank he assigned you before you were born. Galatians 6:9 says, "And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up." Listen to that word, season. Not one day, not eventually. Season. A specific, already established, heaven-defined moment of harvest that is already in the calendar of God's activity on your behalf. The condition is singular. Do not give up. Do not trade your authentic frequency for the performance the room expected. Do not shrink into the rank that was never yours. The harvest God arranged is proportional to the rank he assigned, and the rank he assigned is confirmed by the very markers you have been tempted to call your greatest liabilities. Your refusal to shrink is not arrogance. It is architecture. Your sensitivity is not fragility. It is rank-issued equipment. Your resistance to diminishment is not pride. It is God himself, through the whisper placed inside you from before your birth, refusing to let the assignment he wrote for the full version of you be completed by a smaller one. And the door that is positioned in front of you right now, the one you can feel coming even if you cannot see it clearly yet, it is not waiting for you to become something else. It is waiting for you to stop apologizing for what you already are. Tomorrow morning, when you walk back into the ordinary spaces of your life, into the work, the relationships, the conversations, the environments that have not always known what to do with the frequency you carry, you are going to carry something different than you carried before this moment.